Hello, and I want to welcome you to another Username Nerd video. My name is Mike Hewitt, and today we are in the X-Men playlist, and we are covering X Factor 109. This is the beginning of the Legion quest, which spans about 5 comics in between X Factor, X-Men, and Uncanny X-Men. And the Legion quest basically sets up what's going to become the Age of Apocalypse. Legion is a mutant that is Charles Xavier's son, and he is got kind of multi-personalities and all kinds of crazy powers. So let's go ahead and dive into X Factor 109. This comic basically starts out with Mystique kind of tracking down Legion. And basically what she is doing, Legion killed someone that was very dear to her, a friend, and Mystique doesn't feel like she has a lot of friends. So she has been tracking Legion down and and Legion's been in a coma this whole time. She's been trying to track him down and actually kill him. And so at the beginning, the last comic in X Factor 108, she has made it to him and kind of stuck him with some kind of serum to wake him up. And when he wakes up, he immediately turns and kind of grabs her and says, "I've been expecting you. She said you were coming," which is kind of creepy as it is. The X Factor's also there, the X Factor team, and trying to grab Mystique and get them away from Legion. And there's a little battle off between Mystique and Legion, but really X Factor kind of steps in. Legion kind of conks out a little bit, and Mystique is basically on the run, and X Factor kind of tracks them, is tracking her down. As Mystique is on the run from X Factor, we kind of go back to Legion, and where his mother is kind of taking care of him. He is in a state of kind of not really fully with it, because he just kind of come out of his coma, but he is talking to his mother, and he's actually calling her mother, and this is very, very important for her, because he's saying yes, Dave. She's saying yes, David, I'm here, and he's like, yes, mother, and everything else, and everything's going to be all right. I'm going to fix stuff, and everything's going to be great. He kind of conks out, and she is just crying because he's not really called her mother for a very long time. He has multiple personalities, and most of the times when she has talked to him, he has talked to kind of these 3 different personas. I think it's Jack, Jamal, and Cyndia. Cyndi. Sorry, I should know that, how to pronounce that. But then we kind of go into his consciousness, where he is talking to someone, we don't really know who, but we also see 3 graves. We see the 3 graves of the 3 people that he's normally expressing as a person, one of his personalities coming out. And so what we end up seeing is this woman in this cloak, and basically talking to Legion and saying, I'm taking over, we're going to get them, and I have this plan, kind of thing, which is very interesting. And this plan of fixing everything, which Legion has in his head, that he's got this plan to fix everything, and this one persona is trying to take over for it. We are back to where Mystique has kind of escaped, and she is now at a place where she's talking to kind of the Brotherhood of Mutants. We have Avalanche, and they're all talking, and she is kind of saying, we need to gather together and take out Legion. And she is very upset for her friend who has died. And as they are talking, and she is battling with a couple of the other mutants there through words, and kind of talking about, why are you blaming me? Mystique is really feeling very emotional. And that is when X Factor actually shows up. And then there's another battle. Avalanche just basically takes this, and they're on a dock close to the ocean. He does some kind of, he controls earthquakes and plate tectonics, and so he ends up creating a tidal wave. And so X Factor has this kind of, we've got to fix everything. there's a battle between a bunch of them. Guido is helping and stuff along those lines, and they ended up actually stopping it and actually stopping that tidal wave. As they are stopping Mystique, we go back to the hospital room once again, where Legion is there, and you see Legion with his mother, and basically he is acting like he's talking to his father. So she ends up leaving the room and going back and talking to Forge and saying, I think he's talking to his father, and he's like, and Forge is like, you know what, I'll go in and kind of sit with him and talk with him. And then that's when they go back in and see that he is completely gone. Then we go back to Mystique fighting X Factor, and actually she is battling Wolfbane. And Wolfbane is basically telling Mystique, I've had the same pain you do, but I haven't, gone to murder. I'm not murdering people. I'm, dealing with it. You don't have to murder people. And then that's when Mystique's just like, you know what, you're never going to murder people because you're going to be gone. And that's when she's about to take out Wolfbane, and that's when Forge actually says, no, you're not. And then they battle it back and forth, and they have been their fight is so choreographed. It's like it actually says their fight is like a well choreographed ballet, because they have recently trained together, so they know each other's moves very, very well. Their their counter attacks are very well done, and then all of a sudden Forge is just kind of like, there's a psi blast, and Forge just kind of goes catatonic, and that's when Mystique turns around and actually sees Legion in this bubble, and he says, I need to talk to you, Mystique. And Legion just grabs her and picks her up and brings her, with telekinesis over, and starts to talk to him. Wolfbane is checking out Forge, trying to make sure he's okay. There's just a lot going on, and Legion. This is the point where Legion is at his full. He's ready. He's got a plan, and so he's like, I need to talk to you, but it's too crazy and chaotic right here. So I want to take you to another place, and ends up being in his head. And she's just, Mystique is just frantic, and she's just said, you killed my friend, you monster, you murdered her, why are you doing this, and everything else. And that's when Legion says, she made me promise to tell you that she loves you. You can start to kind of tell the craziness in his head. And she says, I don't understand, you killed her. And he continues on and says, oh yeah, she also says, beware of the times not shattered, hearts not loved, and destinies not written. That's all. And you could just tell that he is just crazy. And then all of a sudden, she is just lied defeat physically, emotionally, and that's when the X Factor team finally gets there and caught up with everybody else, and they're trying to take Legion on, but there's nothing they can do, and Legion kind of just points his fingers at him, and they just disappear. And Mystique's like, what did you do? And he's like, he kind of gets in his bubble and takes off and says, I'm going to make it better. And this is really the beginning of the craziness, and this is why I like X-Men so much. The next couple of comics are just going to get out of control crazy, and I love it. So if you like this one's a pretty basic setup, but the next couple are just going to be incredible. So get ready for a great ride. Thank you for watching this video. This is a Marvel comic, and all images are from Marvel. Please support Marvel by buying their comics. This video is to help encourage people to go out and buy comics. Thank you. Okay, stop. Don't go to the next YouTube video or channel or skip, or don't do anything. Real quick, 5 seconds. We have 3 different channels. Please subscribe to them. Username Nerd News, username Nerd Comics, username Nerd Games. We have separated them out into 3 ones. Choose all of them, or just one to subscribe to. You'd love it. I promise you, we'll give you great content. It'll show up in your feed. You'll love it. Just real quick click. It doesn't take but a few seconds. You'd be awesome. Thank you. I mean, you're really awesome. Thank you.